Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Track Titan community race stream. Here we are in Canada at Mosport Park. I think it's called the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I don't believe in that. Mosport Park. We are in Canada, in Bowmanville, up in the... I want to say near Toronto, but I might be entirely wrong there. Where clearly I've been doing my research. 4.1 kilometers of twisty, turny, tight track. This is a beautiful track to look at, to race at, but it is tight and it is twisty, and one mistake is going to see you in the wall. 10 corners for the drivers to navigate here, and joining me today is no one. I'm on me lonesome, I'm on me Jack Jones, so I'll be trying to keep this one interesting for you all watching at home. Nonetheless, we move on into qualifying. 7 minutes left of qualifying. The drivers now circulating, getting their laps in, and it's a perfect time to take a look at the championship standings. And it's tight at the top. It couldn't be tighter. 104 points shared by Ryan Skywalker and Max Newt 7. They're both on the exact same amount of points. Ryan clawing back all the points that he lost in round 2 by missing it, by taking home 2 wins last time out. 1 fastest lap. He could have done with 1 more. That would have put him 1 point clear, but it doesn't. After penalties came in, he received 3 points, a 3-point penalty, and it dropped him down to the same amount of points as Max. So they are equal on points at the top of the field. Henry Comsey following behind in a mildly distant 3rd. Henry not able to close up the gap to the 2 at the head of the pack, as we see Max Newt 7 take a trip into the wall. But yeah, Henry not able to close up to the guys at the front right now. He's currently sat in 3rd, 78 points. That's 26 points adrift of those 2 at the top. That's a win and a fastest lap he's got to get over the top of them, so it's going to be a serious mountain for him to climb, and he has to be looking over his shoulders because they're chasing. Michelle Rodriguez and Dennis Bodson are both there, both in the same amount of points. There's 2 sets of drivers sharing points this time round, both on 63 points, both only 15 behind Henry Comsey. Alexander Gray, with a strong showing last time out, threw it all away by trying to kill Max Newt 7, but nonetheless, he sticks with us in 6th position. Hugh Jass in 7th, El Ripo in 8th, Isaac Gard in 9th, and Peter Jones in 10th. Peter Jones back today. The ever-talented driver, the worst luck of any driver, has returned. Hopefully, he doesn't have any worse luck today. The camera car has been sorted out. He won't be crashing into that this time round, so fortunately, Peter can... Well, sorry, hopefully Peter can cause some chaos in amongst the Track Titan Community Race Series and bring a new challenge up towards the front. A few names also notably missing. Of course, there's Alexander Gray, the controversial driver from last week. Michelle Rodriguez also missing out. He warned us last week he wouldn't be here, and he isn't. And who else notably is missing? Excuse me, needing to look through the race attendance and the race league standings. To excuse me whilst I look these up. El Ripo, no sign of him today. Can't see him out on track. He's going to be a notable absence, down in 8th position in the championship. Isaac Gard, of course, also not here from 9th. So should be interesting to see how the championship twists and turns after today's racing, because it's anyone's to win, it's anyone's to lose. As I said, a super tight circuit here. One mistake and you're in the wall, and that wall could mean a DNF, because these are not forgiving cars. These aren't cars that bounce easily. These Toyota TS040 hybrids are Le Mans prototypes. They're not built for crashing, as we see Ryan Skywalker crashing. But yeah, they're not built for crashing, and they take a lot of damage. So if you do go into the wall, that could spell disaster for your race. Speaking of the race, I think it's time that we do a hot lap with one of our ever-talented drivers. Let's jump on with Dennis Bosman, who's going to take us for a lap this time round, the Dutch driver. Just coming around the first corner now here, going up and over the hill towards Clayton Corner. A long right-hander, keeping the throttle down and carrying all the speed he possibly can into Quebec, braking deep, clipping that apex on the inside, but not too much because that's a very high curb, and getting on the power using some of the exit curb there, but sticking on the track as we come through the left-hander before the Moss hairpin. This is a very tight kind of double apex of hairpin here, as you see him take the first apex and then the second apex, and back on the power down the Mario Andretti straightaway. This is a circuit that has remained unchanged since its conception in 1961. This straightaway has history in Canadian motorsport as we go through underneath the footbridge here, and then braking once again into the S's with a little bit of a lift, and Dennis Bosman goes round. Thanks, Dennis. Our camera car here rejoins the circuit in the middle of the S's. That's not how you take the corner at all, and he's going to rejoin, hopefully, and take us through the final corner of the circuit. It's white, and that is a slightly slower than usual lap of the Mosport Park Raceway. As I said, you don't want to spin on the S's there. It's such an easy place to do it, though. You see the undulating circuit going up, going down, them long right-handers, that long left-hander on the exit of whites, and the exit and into whites. It's just so easy to lose the car at any given moment on this circuit. So it's going to be a real challenge for the 10 drivers out on circuit today. But it should be an interesting one. We'll see what kind of racing it can throw up. Henry Comsey puts in a decent lap time there. Winner of the Hot Lap Challenge this week round. Managed to get himself into a 1:025 for the Hot Lap Challenge. Hasn't managed to replicate that in qualifying, but he did in practice. He went even faster in his Hot Lap Challenge time in practice. So hopefully he could improve on his time and get himself up into what would be pole position right now, as Max Newt 7 is only able to currently put in a 1:02.768 in first position. He is there. And he is, well, lapping at a decent pace, but he was lapping much faster in practice. Max managed to break into the 1:01. He had a 1:01.95 in practice, so Max is going to be hoping to put the pedal down and get that kind of lap time back out once again in quali. We've got 1.5 minutes left. It's currently Max from Peter from Henry. And one man that you expect to see up at the top, but currently isn't, is Ryan Skywalker. We saw him backwards not long ago, and he has currently not got a lap time of his own. Here he is, coming down the Mario Andretti straightaway. He's not even set a valid lap time yet. He's really struggling with this circuit, really struggling with his car. He was complaining in practice that the car was just loosey-goosey, was all over the shop, and he couldn't tame it. He's going to hope to get it under control if he's ever going to defend this championship title leading position, as he is in the minute, of course, at the top of the pack. But Max really has this car nailed down, so it stands to reason that Max is more than likely to claim top spot once again. That's where my money's going, as Ryan starts a fresh new lap, hoping to set a decent lap time here. You might notice new driver name graphics. I'd love to say that I put some effort into it, but I just discovered it in the content manager. So it looks a little bit nicer for you on stream. And the cars do look a little bit nicer as well, because there's a new post-processing filter that I've enabled. And there we go, Ryan Skywalker messing up his lap. Braking deep into the Moss hairpin. He tries to turn in, as it's got a little bit of a left turn before you reach the hairpin. It reminds me of at the Nürburgring, the Dunlop curve. In a kind of roundabout way. It doesn't look too much like it, but in the way that it turns before you are able to, you have to brake whilst turning, and Ryan getting caught out there, locking up his brakes into the corner as he comes around to start a new lap, and that's a checkered flag. Ryan Skywalker is not going to set a valid lap time because the checkered flag has fallen, and he's spanned before he's even managed to finish his lap. So Ryan Skywalker, the current championship leader, unable to set a valid lap time. Coming across the line, Max 7, Ryan causing chaos. Max 7 unable to improve on his time. Fortunately, he's up at the head of the pack, and his main rival, Henry Comsey, is in the pits. The only man that I can see trying to cause some problems for these drivers is Peter Jones. He's currently flying around the lap. He's at a decent first sector. He's at a decent second sector. We'll see if he can improve on Max Newt and Henry Comsey's time as he comes around the final corner. Keith Holt spins in sympathy in the background. Peter Jones looking very slow at the final corner there. Powers down the start finish straight at half throttle, and he's not going to improve on his lap time. He's going to settle for third. So at the end of qualifying, Ryan Skywalker unable to improve, unable to set a lap time, a valid lap time at all. And that means that pole position goes to Max Newt 7 from Henry Comsey. From Peter Jones back, looking to get some decent luck here today. Hugh Jass in 5th position. Use W, new entry in at 6th. Smells like we in 7th. Mad Bull in 8th. And Keith Holt in 9th, with Ryan Skywalker rounding out the grid at the back. There he is, all on his Jack Jones. We'll keep an eye on the front of the pack, though. It stands to reason that it's going to change at the front, because this first corner is a crazy one. We see the audience waving to the drivers from the Michelin bridge there on the top left. That's surely not legal. That's surely not legal at all. We've got a decent amount of time to wait before the drivers are able to go. Of course, we increase the wait time before the races, so the drivers had a chance to, well, disconnect and reconnect if they were having problems. But none of the drivers today are having problems, so they've got a little bit of an awkward wait as they sit there and think with the engines running. They can feel the purr of the engine in the back, and they're thinking what's going to be their move into the first corner. Of course, you can plan all you want. You can think I'm going to take this line, you can think I'm going to take that line, but when the lights go out and the flag drops, there's no telling what the guy in front of you is going to do. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? You just have to respond appropriately. I've never quite managed that. Usually I'm a terrible starter. As Tom Jones will tell you, as I famously span, laughing at his misfortune. Out karting in Wales, but we're not karting in Wales today. We're racing in Canada. From the Mosport Park, Max Newt 7 lines up on pole. Henry Comsey alongside him. Is he going to be able to make a lunge up the inside for the first corner? Of course, Henry Comsey does have the inside line for this first corner, but that's a long way back between first and second by the looks of it. This is a stretched out grid here at Mosport Park, so going to be a lot of work for Henry, and he was not confident. He reckons that Max is going to win this race by a lap. So he was saying in the practice. We'll see how that pans out for the two Finnish drivers starting first and second, and it's going to be awfully confusing for me to commentate on, as everyone has the same livery. Nonetheless, we're getting ready here. The timing's ticked down, 15 seconds to go, which does mean these 6 red lights are going to go on for the drivers. They're all looking at the starter. The flag's raised, 6 red lights go on, the flag goes down, and away we go. Max Newt 7 gets a very decent start there. He's defending from Henry Comsey. Mad Bull's in the wall at the back of the pack, and Max Newt 7 has held on to the lead into the first corner. Peter Jones slots in exactly as they are for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then the battle for 6th remains going. Smells like we trying to get around the outside of Hugh Jass, but Hugh forces him very, very wide there. Doesn't allow him a way through, doesn't allow him a sniff up the inside. Speaking of sniff up the inside, that's Use W having to take to the inside to defend from Dennis Wartsman, and he's going to have to slow down because he's got all over the grass there, and Smells Like We has moved through on the pair of them. No, he's not. He's dropped back, and Houston Dennis have managed to hold on to their position. At the front, Peter Jones and Henry Comsey are also battling away for 2nd and 3rd. There was a driver in the gravel before, I'm not sure who it was, although I'm pretty sure that was Ryan Skywalker, Keith Holt, Hugh Jass, and Mad Bull, all involved in incidents because they are well off the back of the pack. And there's been a change for the lead. Henry Comsey through on Max Newt 7 down the Mario Andretti straightaway. He must have had a better exit out of the Moss hairpin, and so the Henry Comsey, the Iceman, is through on the Flying Fin. Max Newt 7 down in 2nd position, which is a great place for Henry Comsey to be because he was not confident coming into this race at all, as I said. So coming down the start finish straight at the end of the first lap, it's all changed at the front. Henry Comsey leading this race from Max Newt 7, Peter Jones, Dennis Bosman, and Just W. Henry trying to stick to his lines, trying to hold on to this car with for dear life, because he knows what kind of driver Max Newt 7 is, and he knows that he can easily catch up to him from behind if he messes up at all. Peter Jones slotting in third position. He's comfortable there as Dennis Bosman and UW get kind of close but don't seem to be battling just yet. So these drivers all stick in line astern for now in these Toyota Le Mans hybrids. These don't lend themselves too much to super close racing and super tight kind of tracks. Fortunately, this is a long flowing track with lots of long flowing corners, so we'll see if the drivers can utilize that to their best abilities and make some moves. Hugh Jass comes into the pits. He crashed on the start finish straight with damage as Henry Comsey moves to the inside to defend from Max 7, but Max 7 looks to get the switchback as they come through the S's and into the final corner of white. Henry Comsey still defending from Max 7. They're coming down the start finish straight. Henry sticking to his line, moving to the inside a little bit, then sticking back to the racing line for the first corner as they come round the long right-hander here. Down the hill, back up the hill, over towards Clayton's corner, and Max 7 is still stuck behind Henry Comsey. Ryan Skywalker has pumped in the fastest lap of the race, down in 7th position as he hunts down Smells Like We. He runs very, very wide at Clayton's corner as he comes through to Quebec. He's going to look to make a move on Smells Like We. Not happening this time round. We'll try and keep an eye on this battle and also try and keep an eye on the battle out at the front, but there seems to be a bit of daylight between Max 7 and Henry Comsey, and just as I say that, it disappears. Ryan Skywalker still battling away with Smells Like We. There's a battle up ahead of them. That's between UW and Dennis Bosman. They're very, very close going through the Moss hairpin. Use trying to get a decent amount of traction off the hairpin, but it doesn't happen this time round. He's going to have to stick with 4th position for now. So the drivers, you've got, I think, about 3 packs. You got Henry and Max up at the front. Then you got Peter Jones kind of in a battle of his own as Ryan Skywalker moves down the inside of Smells Like We, but it doesn't happen this time round as they come through into the S. He's going to have to stick behind him once more as he's got the car all over the curbs there coming through into White. Smells Like We, though, makes it very easy for him by going off at the end of the S's there. Before White's corner, he was in the wall, and that's a damaged Toyota there, limping itself down the start-finish straight. He's going to hope to stay ahead of Mad Bull in 8th now. Ryan Skywalker hunting down UW for 5th. At the front, Max 7 is dropping back from Henry Comsey. Henry is extending his lead at the front of the pack. He's now just hovering around a second, which is very much down from what it was just a lap ago as they come up the hill through the Moss hairpin and power out down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Once again, we're going to have plenty of laps in this race. These cars are lapping at an incredible rate. But Max Newt unable to capitalise on anything quite yet. There's a very close battle behind them between UW and Dennis Bosman, and Eust has managed to get himself up past Dennis Bosman down the Mario Andretti straightaway. They were side by side, and Eust looking to make 2 moves in one straightaway, but it's not going to happen this time round. But he's got the bit between his teeth. He's got a fast Toyota there, doesn't he? As he chases down Dennis Bosman, Ryan Skywalker taking the Joker lap and travelling over the grass before the entrance to White's. It's a shame this great driver Michelle isn't there. Yeah, he always does give great racing, doesn't he? He usually bottles it on about lap 5. Fortunately, these drivers haven't bottled it quite yet. UW definitely not, as he's moved up into 4th position. Oh, Peter Jones, just as I talk about bottling it, has span. He's dropped down behind Dennis Bosman. He's dropped down behind UW, and he's going to drop down. No, he's not. Ryan Skywalker's in the wall. Ryan Skywalker is in the wall. He was really struggling with this car, really struggling with this track, and there it goes. It stands to reason that he's now in the wall and dropping down behind Mad Bull. Ryan Skywalker in 8th position. Peter Jones all the way from 3rd down to 5th. Nightmare for both of the drivers there as it becomes a British on British battle between Peter Jones and Smells Like We coming down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Once again, the battles are all happening down this straightaway. Behind them, Ryan Skywalker and Mad Bull are battling away as well, but Ryan a little bit adrift of the American driver there. Smells Like We seems to be the man with the bit between his teeth as up at the front of the pack. Oh, and Dennis Bosman's off, and Smells Like We's taken to the Joker lap himself. He's gone over the grass there on the entrance to the S's. Oh, and he spanned well around there before White. He's going to rejoin the circuit behind Mad Bull and Ryan Skywalker, and that's a disaster for Smells Like We there in 8th position, dropping down the order like a ton of bricks. Ryan Skywalker looking to make a move on Mad Bull here. Through turn 1 they go, over the hill once again towards Clayton's corner. And it's a 3-kart battle with Dennis Bosman at the head of them, Mad Bull closing up onto the back of him, and Ryan Skywalker just behind him. Before this race, Mad Bull, the man just being overtaken by Ryan Skywalker there as he kind of gets out the way of Ryan, but doesn't allow him through. Ryan bullies his way through, and Ryan forces his way past Dennis Bosman, who's going very slowly. What's going on for Dennis Bosman? He's going very slowly towards the Moss hairpin there. Not sure if he's battling some damage, the driver there. Let's see, on board with Dennis Bosman here. Yes, he is. Look at the damage of his car. He's having to turn about 20 degrees to the right just to go straight. What a nightmare to drive with that must be. Down in 7th position, he's going to try and hold on to that for now. Although he could pit, because Keith Holt and Hugh Jass are both in the pits repairing damage themselves. So we wouldn't be losing out on too many points. It smells like we is the only man behind him right now. Mad Bull settling for 6th position behind Ryan Skywalker. As I was saying, before the race, Mad Bull said that as long as he can keep it on the track and finish, that's a win for him. And he's overperforming, if anything. Running in 6th position, was having a decent battle with Ryan Skywalker back then. A very fast driver, so I'm sure he'll be very happy with that, as Dennis Bosman does finally come into the pits to repair his damage. Very damaged Toyota he has there. Smells like we moves through up into 7th position. And that's all the battling kind of done now. We've got 7.5 minutes to go. We'll see if any of these drivers make any more mistakes, if any of these drivers close up on each other. But at the front of the pack, the man, what is he? He's the Iceman. The Iceman up at the front of the pack is flying. Keeping the gap between himself and Max Newt 7 extended above a second. As I say, that Max Newt does manage to claw it down underneath a second. But Henry lapping there, 4/10 faster than Max Newt 7 last lap alone. So if Henry can keep this pace and stick to his racing lines, Max is not going to have any answers for him at all, as these two Finns are going to be happy to run in 1 and 2. Of course, the fellow countrymen, but both of them are going to want to finish in 1st position naturally. It's a racer's instinct, isn't it? Up through the Moss hairpin they go. The two drivers very close now. Max Newt seems to be putting the pedal down. He's closing up to the back of Henry Comsey. Now we've got the cameras on him. He's not a man to shy away from pressure, Max Newt 7. He knows what's on the plate. He knows what needs to be done. Speaking of what needs to be done, Hugh Jass back out circulating 2 laps down in 10th position. He got given the blue flags and got out the way of Dennis Bosman, and Smells Like We. Dennis Bosman a lap down from Smells Like We, still battling the way with him, giving himself some entertainment, but Hugh managed to get out the way of the pair of them, very kindly observing blue flags and yeah, sticking out the way of these drivers up at the front of the, well, excuse me, up at the front of the, up in 7th and 8th position. As it happens, Keith Holt also back circulating out in his triumphant return to the Track Titan Community Race Series. He took a couple of weeks out. He was away, but he's back in the Toyotas, and he's in 9th position somehow, even though he's 3 laps down. I'm sure that'll correct itself as they come across the start-finish line. And speaking of which, we'll see if these two can correct themselves by the start-finish line, because they're still battling away. These two have had a fantastic battle all race. Henry Comsey's mirrors have been filled with Max Newt 7 since the start of this race, quite frankly. Well, excuse me, since he managed to overtake him. Of course, he started in 2nd, managed to overtake Max Newt 7 on the 1st lap, and it's stayed that way since then. Now, 10 minutes into this race, with 5 minutes to go, can Henry Comsey hold on to this lead right to the end? Max is going to make it easy for him, and he certainly isn't. He's staying within a second of him, and he's not letting him run away with it. But as long as Henry can stick to his lines, he might be all right. He might not be, though. Max Newt 7 with the fastest lap of the race, and look at the amount he's closed down on Henry Comsey in that last sector alone. Max has that last sector on lock. They're coming through Clayton's corner now, through down towards the right-hander of Quebec. Henry Comsey sticking in the lead for now, but Max Newt 7 getting in the slipstream behind Henry Comsey ahead of him. Let's jump on board with Max Newt 7 as Keith Holt goes off in front of them. This is on board with Henry Comsey, excuse me. Let's look backwards behind Henry Comsey at Max Newt 7, chasing him down. And this is what Henry Comsey sees every single time he looks in his mirrors. He sees a whole load of Max Newt 7 as they're coming down the Mario Andretti straightaway, over the hill, under the hill, over the hill. It undulates up and down before they have to lift off in towards the S's now. Taking the right-hander, taking the left-hander, and then braking into the final corner of Whites as they go across the start-finish line in just a moment's time. Max Newt 7 now 0.3 of a second behind Henry Comsey. Surely the overtake's on the cards for Max Newt 7 as we jump on board with him. He's looking for a way past Henry Comsey, but for now all he's got to do is stick to his lines and maybe make that last lap lunge. Max, of course, knows all about last lap lunges, as he had his lead stripped away from him last week from Alexander Gray with yeah, a bit of interesting driving from the Swedish driver. Nonetheless, he doesn't let that deter him. He gets back in the car and he starts circulating. Oh, as he has to correct himself coming through the Moss hairpin there. Henry Comsey going a little bit slower than he expected, and that's lost him a little bit of time. He's now 8/10 back from Henry Comsey ahead of him. He's going to try and get in his slipstream and catch up to him down the Mario Andretti straightaway, but he's a little bit out of slipstream range now. Now over a second between the pair of them. You could see how just one tiny mistake dropped him back almost half a second, and that's the kind of margins that we're playing with at this circuit. It's a tight and twisty one, as I've been saying. One mistake can cost you a whole lot. Elsewhere on the circuit, I didn't yawn, Ryan Skywalker. Elsewhere on the circuit, the rest of the drivers are just circulating in their own kind of battles. Not too many drivers too close to each other. There's a few lap drivers battling with unlapped drivers. Hugh Jass very close behind Dennis Bosman. Both drivers a lap and 2 laps down respectively. Still kind of battling away down the Mario Andretti straightaway, even if it isn't for points, or sorry, even if it isn't for position. I'm sure these drivers are still going to battle because it's just so fun to do, especially at this circuit in these cars. And they've got plenty to look forward to as they come through the S's. Next week we have the return of the open wheelers. If you head to tracktitan.io, you sign up, you can go and vote for what you want to see next week. The vote's going to be open until the end of this race. The setup of the car on this track is locked for all the drivers. It was on the Hot Lap Challenge server. If you join the Discord, you can join the Hot Lap Challenges. You can find out which is going to be the next Hot Lap Challenge. And yeah, it's a locked setup this week created by Henry Comsey, the man currently in the lead of the race. But it depends week to week who creates it, who develops it. Ryan Skywalker up into 4th position because Peter Jones has taken a trip into a wall. And look at his car, look at the damage that he's going to be battling. We'll jump on board with him now and have a look through the eyes of the British driver coming around the first corner, just understeer into wall hell. And yeah, that car, you have to put about 10 degrees of lock on it just to go straight. That's a nightmare for Peter Jones, circulating in 5th position currently. He's got 1 minute 15 left and another lap, of course. That's going to be about 3 more laps for the driver to deal with this damage. I wonder if he'll deal with the damage or if he'll come into the pits. But of course, if he comes into the pits, he loses 1 or 2 laps. So that's what's put a few of the drivers further back down. I'm sure he'll probably want to manage with it and drop 1 or 2 positions rather than 4. We'll jump back to the front of the pack because once again the battle has resumed between the 2 Finns at the front. Smells like we giving blue flags up in front of these guys. We'll see if he gets in the way, see if he gets involved in this front first place battle shortly. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he gets out of the way as Henry Comsey comes flying around the outside of him through Quebec corner. Very well done for Henry Comsey there to avoid the lap driver. Max Newt 7 also doesn't get tangled by the driver in 6th position. And these 2 drivers now a lap up all the way up to 6th. These 2 have the bit between their teeth. They are flying. Mad Bull must have been in the wall just off screen there, because he's rejoined the circuit in 7th position behind Smells Like We, who's just behind these 2. With 12 seconds left coming down the Mario Andretti straightaway, this is it. We're going to be on to the final lap next time round. The drivers come down the Mario Andretti straightaway, full throttle at the top of the circuit here. Lifting off for the entrance into the S's, taking the right-hander, taking the left-hander, and then breaking into white. Henry Comsey looks in his mirror and sees a whole load of Max Newt 7 for 1 more lap. Can he hold on? Can he stick to his lines and keep circulating exactly as he has been for the last 15 minutes to hold on to this lead? They go over the hill, through towards Clayton Corner, taking the left-hander, lifting off a little bit, and then powering out of the corner through towards Quebec. Max Newt 7 looks forward, tries to find a way past Henry Comsey. Henry Comsey slips up, he oversteers out of the Quebec corner, and he drops down into 2nd position, and Max Newt 7, without much fuss at all, moves through into the lead of this race on the final lap. Drama between the 2 Finnish drivers at the head of this race. Henry Comsey led for so long, and it just was 1 tiny mistake that Max Newt 7 capitalized on, and I said it was coming. I said Max Newt 7 was going to be focusing on capitalizing on any mistakes Henry Comsey makes, and there it is. 1 tiny bit of oversteer, and Max is into the lead of this race, and this propels him well into the lead of the championship going in towards the 2nd of this race, and of course into round 5. His main championship rival Ryan Skywalker down in 4th position. And so at the end of the first race, it all came down to the final lap. You had 15 minutes to watch But you only needed to watch the last lap to see Max Newt 7 take the win here ahead of Henry Comsey. Ryan Skywalker also on the last lap with some drama there, overtaking Juice W. I'm not sure what's happened between those two drivers there where the juice went off, but nonetheless, Ryan Skywalker completes the podium and finishes in 3rd position. That's a decent haul of points for him in his championship lead defense. Not going fully to plan, but he's not far off now. He's even less further off as he finishes in 3rd ahead of Juice W. Peter Jones taking a couple trips into the wall. He limps himself through the end of this race, through the S's. Now he comes with a battered and bruised Toyota to cross the line in 5th position. He was in lofty heights of 2nd early on, but it's all gone to pot. And he's dropped down into 5th position. Mad Bull finishes the race in 6th position. Good finish for the American driver there. He was happy to finish last as long as he finished the race. Well, he finished in 6th and got a decent haul of points. Dennis Bosman finishes in 7th. Keith Holt finishes in 9th. Hugh Jass finishes in 10th. And we've got a missing driver in 8th. Hopefully they rejoin in time for the 2nd race, which is coming up imminently. Stick around for the 2nd race. It's a reverse grid. We'll see what chaos this one can throw up. Smells like we rejoins. He was a driver that finished in 8th position, of course. So here we go. 10 drivers back on the grid to start this race. And because they were a lap down, Hugh Jass, Keith Holt, and Smells Like We are going to start from the back of this race. Even though they finished last, it only counts if you're on the lead lap. And so Max Newt 7 only has 6 drivers ahead of him. He's going to start in 7th position alongside Henry Comsey, ahead of them. Ahead of Max even. Filling his windscreen is Ryan Skywalker, his championship rival. Ryan starting in 5th position for this race. Juice W starts this race in 4th position after losing out a position on the final lap to Ryan Skywalker there, as we just saw. Peter Jones starting in 3rd, Mad Bull starting in 2nd, and Dennis Bosman is going to take this race from pole position. And what a great place for the Dutch driver to start. We know he can lead races. He's a decent kind of driver. He struggled with this car in the first race. We'll see if he manages to sort out his struggles and finish this race where he starts. Of course, that's the goal, isn't it? That's always the goal. Starting first, finishing first, lead every lap. That's exactly what you want to see. I'm sure that's all that's going to be going through his mind as he sits on the pole position spot here on the grid at Mosport Park in the Toyota TS040 hybrids. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Subscribe to the Track Titan channel. We've got fantastic videos going out weekly. Going to teach you plenty of driver tips, of track guides, working with Fanatec every Tuesday to put out a tutorial Tuesday. It's a fantastic partnership. And some fantastic videos being made by the Track Titan team. They put out a Hungary track guide just today. Plenty of quick tips going out as well for you and your F1 racing particularly. 20 seconds left for the drivers to sit on the grid here. 10 of them line up, looking at the smiley Michelin man, staring back at them, hoping to channel his energy. I know I do. 6 red lights on for the 10 drivers on the grid. The engine notes rise, the lights go out, and away we go. And Dennis Bosman has had a decent start there. Don't think Mad Bull's got the answer to it, but one man who does is Peter Jones with a flying start up into 1st position on the first corner. What a start from Peter Jones that was. Drops Dennis Bosman down into 2nd position, Mad Bull into 3rd. Juice W up the inside of the pair of them, and he collides with Dennis Bosman, and Dennis Bosman goes round after some contact with Juice W, and Juice W has also gone well wide and drops down into 5th position. Henry Comsey, the Iceman, keeps it cool, moves up into 3rd position. Now into 4th because Ryan Skywalker moves up the inside of the Finnish driver there. Fantastic move through Quebec corners. They come flying, breaking deep in towards the Moss hairpin. Ryan Skywalker's outbroke himself. Mad Bull's outbroke himself. Henry Comsey's up the inside of the pair of them. And Henry Comsey is up into 2nd position with a fantastic double move on the South African and the American drivers there through the Moss hairpin. So Peter Jones is leading this race from Henry Comsey. Ryan Skywalker chasing him down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Max Newt 7 has managed to get himself up from 7th to 5th, but he's getting attacked by Keith Holt, and Keith Holt is through on the Finnish driver there, going down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Max Newt is dropping down like a sack of bricks. Into the S's now. Hugh Jass and UW very close behind the pair of them, and then Smells Like We not too far behind himself. At the end of the first lap, there's a driver in the wall. Who's that? That looks to be Mad Bull. Mad Bull taking a trip into the wall of champions here on the exit of the last corner. He's got a very damaged Toyota. He drops all the way down into the last position in this race with that damaged Toyota taking the trip into the wall. Nonetheless, Peter Jones leading this race. Henry Comsey close behind in second position, looking to make up the position, looking to take a win after he lost out on the last lap last time round. Ryan Skywalker circulated in third closely, and his championship rival Max Snoot is in fourth with Hugh Jass and Deuce W battling over a bit of track there, with Keith Holt also in seventh position, looking to take home a decent amount of points here as he looks to take 10th position in the championship away from Peter Jones. He had to have a decent finish in this race to take that position away from Peter today. And so they're going down the start-finish straight now, and it seems to be a battle of attrition, as there doesn't seem to be a battle of attrition. Do excuse me, I've missed the change for the lead there. Henry Comsey getting himself past Peter Jones on the Matterhorn Mario Andretti straightaway, and that is the place where it all seems to be happening. The Mario Andretti straightaway, they're getting into each other's slipstream, they're getting the speed up, and they're making the moves before the S's even begin. And Henry Comsey, once again, is leading us at Mosport Park in the Toyota TS040 hybrids. Can he hold on for 12.5 more minutes? We'll see, as Peter Jones and Ryan Skywalker look to chase him down, going up through the Quebec corner now, and then powering towards the Moss hairpin. Mad Bull. My wheel and pedals said, lol, no you, he says. Struggling with his equipment there. Retires to the pits, and he's not going to see a decent finish in this race as he fixes up his car. Ryan Skywalker looking to make a decent run out of the hairpin. Has not gone well. He's going to stick behind Peter Jones for now. But as they go through down the Mario Andretti straightaway, they are all very close, these top three. And Ryan Skywalker takes a sniff down the inside of Peter Jones, but it doesn't happen this time around. Peter Jones having to hold on to that second position for now. Ryan Skywalker having to stick in third. But only for how long? Well, seemingly for a little bit longer, as he very, very narrowly loses it there in the final corner, and he very nearly lost it in a much worse way. Fortunately, his car is not damaged after that little excursion, and he's going to have to sit back in third position for now. But he's catching up to Peter Jones at a rate of knots, running very, very wide on the exit of Clayton's corner there, coming through Quebec now. All over the white lines. Ryan Skywalker was up the inside of Peter Jones before the Moss hairpin has even begun. What a run he had off the Quebec hairpin there. He had at least 10 or 20 kilometers an hour on Peter Jones there, and Peter dropping down into third position. Has he got any answers for Ryan Skywalker as they head up the Mario Andretti straightaway once again? Ryan Skywalker, he's got the bit between his teeth. He's got himself in second position. Can he take away first position from Henry Comsey once again? Henry does not want to lose out on this first position again. He already did in the first race, so he's got a reason to fight for first this time round. He doesn't want it to be repeated. Now the driver's just circulating once again. We saw it last time round. 10.5 minutes to go. It kind of lulls down a little bit. The drivers start to get into the rhythm of things. They start to get in their laps. They start to circulate as fast as they possibly can. And then it starts to heat up a little bit towards the end of the race. Ryan Skywalker now under a second between himself and Henry Comsey. He's got some serious pace. I don't know where it's come from Ryan Skywalker, but he's alongside, and he's through on Henry Comsey. What pace has Ryan Skywalker got out of the Quebec corner there? He's done the same move 2 laps in a row. First on Peter Jones, now on Henry Comsey. Ryan Skywalker seemingly with a Ferrari engine in the Toyota there, flying past the Henry Comsey, the Finnish driver, and he's got absolutely no answers running on board with Henry Comsey now as he looks to chase down Ryan Skywalker and retake that first position, but it just doesn't seem to be on the cards. Ryan, where did this pace come from? He's flying around the S's now, losing a bit of time to Henry Comsey. Henry Comsey sticking to his lines. Look how smooth he is with his driving, the Iceman, going to prove his name right as he comes out of the final corner now, a little bit wide there, a little bit over the grass on the end of the exit curve, excuse me. But Ryan Skywalker just clearing away from him. Now over a second between first and second. Ryan Skywalker, he's opened a can of beans. He's well and truly opened a can of beans, and he is flying out at the front of this race. And he seems to be holding on to this lead very, very well. Max Snoot 7 is going to want to spoil the party, though. That's Ryan's championship rival, and that's the one that Ryan needs to be looking out for. They're very tight up at the top. Henry Comsey has brought the gap down under half a second. Ryan Skywalker still with an extra few horsepower down the back straight, seemingly flying away from Henry. Henry not got the answer, even if he got a little bit of a run out of the Moss hairpin. Behind them, Peter Jones and Max 7 are also very tight, coming through the S's, coming through the left-hander, coming through the right-hander, the final right-hander of the corner of the circuit. It's White's corner as they come down the hill once again through the first corner here at the circuit. Peter Jones, it looks to be a matter of time before he gets passed by Max 7 because Max has pumped in the fastest lap of anyone so far. At the back of the circuit, Mad Bull out once again, taking a little bit of a drift. He's getting lapped by Smells Like Wheat, but defends like Esteban Ocon. Back up for the battle. Back up to the battle for third. Peter Jones coming through the Moss hairpin. He's going to try and get a decent exit off this corner to run away from Max 7 to try and put a little bit of a gap between himself and the Finnish driver. But Max, look at the pace he's got off the corner there. He's all over the back of Peter Jones, and surely it's a matter of time now as Max 7 looks to be gaining on Peter Jones as they come underneath the footbridge once again in towards the S's. We'll jump on board of Max. Smooth driving through the S's for both of these drivers here. Braking into the second part of the S's and then through into White's corner. It's a slow part of the circuit here, down in fourth gear, and then accelerating off the final corner onto the start finish straight. Max 7 moves up, he moves alongside, he moves through on Peter Jones. No, he doesn't, because Peter Jones fights back fantastically, holds on to third position by hugging the outside line and sticks there in third position ahead of Max 7. Max is going to have to reload and try once again. Smells Like We is up through and past Keith Holt. Where did that move get made? That move got made down after the Mario Andretti straightaway. Of course it did. That's where all the moves are being made on this circuit. Maybe that's what Max needs to do for Peter Jones if he ever wants to pass the British driver. Smells Like We holding on to 7th position ahead of Keith Holt just about for now. We'll see if that one develops at all. At the head of the pack, there's less than a second between these two drivers, Ryan Skywalker and Henry Comsey. Ryan Skywalker seems to be prone to mistakes, but one man who isn't is Max 7 through on Peter Jones and the Mario Andretti straightaway. I said that was the place to make the move, and Max 7 has got a fantastic run out of the Moss hairpin, and he's through easily on Peter Jones, with Hugh Jass now entering the background of this battle. Hugh flying fantastically in 5th position. This is a great race from the British driver there. We've not seen him in lofty positions like this before, battling people like Max 7 and Peter Jones. What a great place for this driver to be. He's improved very well. Ryan's extended that gap out ahead of Henry Comsey once again. It seems to be like an elastic band between these two. You just can't separate them. Nonetheless, he holds on to the lead, and he's going to try and hold on to the lead for just under 6 more minutes plus 1 lap. That battle, I said, might develop. It did develop. Keith Holt is through and Smells Like We down the Mario Andretti straightaway once again. Keith Holt flying now ahead of the English driver down the start-finish straight. We'll see if Smells Like We repays him the favour once again down the back straight. It seems to be on the cards every single time they come through. There's a 3-way battle going on for third. Max 7 is not in the clear. He's only got a second and a bit between himself and Peter Jones, and likewise Peter Jones only got a second and between himself and Hugh Jass, the car chasing the pair of them in 5th position. And Hugh doing very well here, as I said. Oh, understeering a little bit there through the S's. You need to get your lines a little bit more tight than that, Hugh, if you ever want to take this third position away from these two talented drivers. But he's still circulating very tightly behind them, putting in lap times underneath 1:05, and that's all you need to do to stick with the front of the pack here at Mosport. Ryan Skywalker put in the fastest lap of the race last time round. He's cleared off. He's put 4.9 seconds between himself and Henry Comsey at the head of the pack here, and he is putting on an absolute masterclass of driving. He sorted out a few of his issues before. He was prone to mistakes, but this last few minutes, and hopefully for Ryan, for the last remainder of the race, Ryan is flying. He's doing everything he needs to do. We'll jump on board with him, see if we can learn any secrets. He turns in gently into the S's here, gets all over the curb on the inside, throws it into the left-hander here, and then brakes for White. Look at how his car is just glued to the ground. Ryan has got the bit between his teeth, and he has got a car like a god. All over the inside curb there, all over the exit curb there, up and over the hill for Clayton. So you can all learn a thing or two from a rapid driver like Ryan there. Using all the track available to him, absolutely no inch spared, and he's putting in lap times like we've not seen yet in these races. He's flying out ahead of Henry Comsey. Now 7.8 seconds between himself and the Iceman. Behind Henry Comsey, of course, will jump on board with Max Newt 7. He's chasing down Henry Comsey once again. This is like deja vu. We've seen this before, haven't we? We'll see if Max Newt 7 can make the move stick. Oh, well, that's not going to help. He gets a little bit of an oversteer there. I think he beached himself on the exit curve or something like that. Got a little bit of oversteer through the Moss hairpin, and then that's dropped him back at least a second to what he was behind Henry Comsey. Now chasing him down the Mario Andretti straightaway once again. He's going to try and reel in that gap within the next 3 minutes and 1 lap. We'll see if he can pass him before the end of this race. Max, of course, your race winner, first time round. This reverse grid has not fared him quite so well. Goes to show what taking off from pole, what advantage taking off from pole can make. Because at the end of the day, when you start the race, there's only about 100 yards between every single driver on the grid. But when you've got 2 tons of steel between you and the man in front, that can make all the difference, and you can drop down quite quickly. One man who is dropping down very quickly there behind Keith Holt is Smells Like Wee. Keith, with a fantastic move, once again on the Mario Andretti straightaway, moves ahead of Smells Like Wee. And what a battle these two are having. This must be amazing fun for them to both take part in. Dicing, mixing, changing every single lap, these two on absolute level pace. And it's great to see them both having so much fun and learning. Oh, and Keith Holt goes round on the Clayton corner. He just lost it coming over the hill. Unloaded those rear tyres, turned in, and his car has gone round for a spin. Keith Holt round, down in 8th position now, potentially. Yeah, no, still down in 8th position as he gets out of the way of Ryan Skywalker, the leading car. Through Quebec corner he comes. He tries not to get in the way of Mad Bull, but it doesn't matter because Mad Bull is down 2 laps. So Keith, battle away, my friend, as he rejoins the circuit. Henry Comsey not too far behind the pair of them as he's defending from Max Newt 7. We'll see if these back markers become a part of this battle, as they are not too far ahead, and these two are going to catch up to them very shortly. Coming down the Mario Andretti straightaway, you've got Keith and Mad Bull ahead of these two, battling for second and third. Mad Bull moves up to get himself past Keith Holt, unlaps himself once on Keith Holt. Henry Comsey very, very tight behind Keith Holt. Keith gets out of the way. He doesn't want to get involved in this battle for second and third. Well done there, Keith. Mad Bull has no such qualms getting involved. Henry Comsey defending from Max Newt 7 through the S's they come, through whites. Has Henry Comsey got any answers for Max Newt 7 as the timer ticks down just below 1 minute? Ryan Skywalker, I think, is going to give us 2 more laps as he's currently headed into Quebec corner, so we can expect him to cross the line before the timer ticks down to 0 once again. So 2 more laps for these two drivers to dice it out, and we'll see if Max Newt 7 can recreate what he did in the first race, if he can get himself up past Henry Comsey with ease, or if Henry is going to make it a little bit harder for his fellow Finnish driver today. That's exactly what Henry will hope to be doing, as he currently circulates ahead of the flying fin. Oh, and Ryan Skywalker spun! Ryan Skywalker's had a spin. He's had a crash on the exit of the Moss hairpin, and suddenly we've got a 3-way battle for the lead out of nowhere. This race has hotted up once again. I said it was going to happen. I said it was going to happen with 10 minutes to go. These races at Mosport hot up at the end. All of a sudden, Ryan Skywalker down in 3rd position, and this battle between Henry Comsey and Max Newt 7 once again becomes a battle for the lead. It really is deja vu, these two. These two battling away for 3rd and 2nd. Ryan Skywalker on the back of the pair of them. And now they've got 3 cars duking it out for the lead of this race. Max Newt 7 in 2nd position, looking to gain a little bit of time with Ryan Skywalker. But Ryan Skywalker, with a fantastic run off the first corner, gets along the outside of Max Newt 7, moves himself up, through, past the Finnish driver, on towards the Clayton curve he comes. And what a move that was from Ryan Skywalker there. Round the outside, of Max Newt 7. Don't know where Ryan's got the pace from, but it's fantastic to watch as now he chases down Henry Comsey, down through, up towards the Moss hairpin. He breaks deep. Henry Comsey on the final lap. Is he going to lose out on this lead once again on the final lap? Is it going to be heartbreak once again for the Finnish driver? Ryan, though, all over the exit curb there. That's going to lose him time down the Mario Andretti straightaway. We'll see if he can slip into Henry Comsey's slipstream and gain any time on him through towards the S's. Henry Comsey has got a bit of daylight between himself and Henry Comsey's got a bit of daylight between himself and Ryan Skywalker, and it looks like he's going to hold on to this lead, and it's not going to end in heartbreak for the Finnish driver 2 times today. He's going to hold on to this lead. Coming through, Whitey comes, and just by the skin of his teeth, Henry Comsey crosses the line in first position, ahead of Ryan Skywalker, ahead of Max Newt 7. What a finish that was to that race. Great racing from these top 3 drivers. Great to see the support in the chat. Thanks, Doob23. Be great to see you racing next week. I'll put something in the Discord for you so you can race as well. But this has been a fantastic finish to a fantastic race here at Mosport. Peter Jones crosses the line in 5th position. USW circulates in 6th. Keith Holt in 7th. Smells Like We and Mad Bull finish this race from the pit lane after they've come in for damage. What a finish. Wow. I need to catch my breath. That was a great finish. And Ryan, absolute heartbreak for Ryan, leading this race so well all this race, and then just spins out on the Moss hairpin, loses it all. Henry Comsey moves through and defends fantastically right to the line. We'll see if we can get a chat with both Henry and Max. Let's steal Henry. I don't have a spit slam to send out, so hopefully we can grab him. Let's grab Henry first. Henry, how's it going, mate?
Dead. Okay.
I just stole you, Henry. Fantastic racing.
Sorry.
It's all right. Fantastic racing, and what a finish that was to the second race. I bet you didn't think you were going to win that one come the final lap.
Yeah, no, because I don't know what Ryan did. He don't know either, but somehow he like drag a brake more on the fast corners, so he get a lot of curves, and when he used that, he was a lot of faster because the curves is critical on this car. It was like, I just check his race pace, it was like just over 103s when I just managed 104s.
Yeah, he it seemed like he had an extra few brake horsepower. I assume that was the curves, right?
Yeah, it was the curves, but I don't know how he get so much recovery from the brakes.
Not sure, but well, he used it fantastically, but then threw it all away, and then come the end of the race, you just swooped around. You were defending from Max, and then suddenly it became a lead battle, and then suddenly Ryan got involved once again and got past Max, and well, in a way, Ryan helped you out to the win there, didn't he?
Yeah, he was doing a lot of mistakes on the double right-hander, but I'm not sure why people are calling that the car is sliding a lot. I think it was the best compromise of for the setup. It's like for more reaction to the car, more rigid, it gets more loose, and if you put softer suspension, it's just like way too understeery.
I'm not sure, but to be fair, when I was jumping on board with you, Max and Ryan, you all had such smooth steering inputs. The car looked like it was glued to the ground, so maybe it's just a setup for some people and not for others.
Maybe. I just that first race braking.
It was heartbreaking for you. You led so well. You managed to get past Max, and then the last lap comes and he just slides by.
Yeah, I just forget that the tires were, and for the last lap I was like, I'm gonna go to the fastest lap, but then too late braking, and when the tires are worn down, you don't have the grip and lock the rears.
Of course. I mean, these things form champions, but you did fantastically today. That's a second place and a first place, so that's going to do you very well in the championship, especially because Max finished, well, he finished first and third, so all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Well done, Henry. Great to talk to you again, and I'll speak to you next week, I'm sure. I'll get Max now.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
There we go. Henry Comsey. They're chatting to us. Race 2 winner. I'm gonna steal Max. Max, race 1 winner. You managed to take the lead on the final lap after Henry messed up his braking. Did you think that you were always going to overtake him, or did you think he was going to make it more difficult?
I was just waiting he to make little mistake, and fortunately he made one in the last lap.
Yeah, it was very, very fortunate. And it seemed it was on the cards because you were lapping so fast. Did you enjoy this car?
Yeah, this was very fun to drive.
And well, on the second race, you did really well. You battled all the way through. You made some fantastic overtakes, got up to the back of Henry. Suddenly, it was a lead battle because Ryan span, but then Ryan just swept around the outside of you. Did you just have no KERS at that point?
Yeah, I had no battery left, and then I go wide, and it was that.
Well, you were battling fantastically right to the end, and it's a shame that you weren't able to take home a double win. But first and third is not too bad because Ryan only got second and fourth, so you are definitely going to be leading the championship this time round. So well done, good racing.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure we'll speak to you next week anyway. Tom and Spitslam should be back, so it'll be a bit more populated as well. But yeah, good racing, and see you next week.
See ya.
There we go, Max 67. Race 1 winner, race 2 third position, and a great race all round from a lot of the drivers here today. That was a really good finish to the second race, and that one took me breath away. What a race. I hope you all join us next week. This time next week, of course, racing starts at 7 o'clock BST every single week. Tuesday, Track Titan Tuesday. That sounds like a market seller there. Track Titan Tuesday, 7 o'clock, the race starts. You can join the races yourself if you join the Discord. All the info's in there. You can sign up and find out how to join. There's a Hot Lap Challenge going live, and the Hot Lap Challenge for this week and the race for next week, I'm happy to announce, is the Lotus Exos 125 at Red Bull Ring. So a fantastic return to open wheelers at a fantastic circuit. Hopefully we'll see you there next week. And to conclude the stream, results have gone live. Max 67 confirmed in the lead of the championship, Ryan Skywalker in second. Dennis Bosman's moved himself up past Michelle Rodriguez, thanks to Michelle Rodriguez taking the round out. And a couple new entries in the top 10. Peter Jones up 2 positions into 8th. USW up into 9th position. And that drops Isaac Gard out of the top 10. El Ripo now in 10th position. Very interesting moves in the championships. We'll see if any penalties get applied. But thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for commenting. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.